While the interconnected nature of circuits can lead to frustrating Grand Prix and open world designs, Mario Kart World's new driving mechanics and bold new Knockout Tour mode makes it a fun time on Nintendo Switch 2. Improving on perfection is no easy feat, but it's a magic trick Nintendo has repeatedly pulled off. Just look at the jump from Zelda Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. And yet, if the Nintendo Switch 2's premier launch exclusive proves anything, it's that Mario Kart as a series is a very different beast. Mario Kart World isn't a bad game per se. In fact, several aspects of the formula have been creatively tweaked to the point of exhaustion, with new ways to race sprinkled in both on and off track. Yet that's also strangely part of the problem. With the exception of Knockout Tour mode, almost everything else Mario Kart World does best isn't necessarily new and ends up being a distraction. The result is a colourful kart racer that's still awesome to play in the moment, but one that undeniably pales in comparison to its immediate predecessor. Honestly, Mario Kart World's biggest problem is its need to try and usurp Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Although originally a Wii U game eventually ported to the Nintendo Switch, the latter quickly grew to become one of the best value propositions in games ever thanks to its admittedly sporadic post-launch support that saw new cups, tracks, and racers gradually added. Knowing this makes it totally understandable why the original Nintendo Switch never received its own Mario Kart. The Nintendo Switch 2 obviously doesn't have this same luxury, and so the race has clearly been on for Nintendo to try and push the envelope yet again. Its primary method of doing so is right there in the subtitle, yet it's hardly the saving grace of the overall package here. That honour instead most definitely goes to Knockout Tour mode. Very much Mario Kart's answer to the ongoing Battle Royale trend, I was instantly taken aback at just how much racing to, well, stay in the race, works to ramp up my competitiveness and makes taking every corner a moment of high tension and risk. Seeing the racer count whittle down from 24 to 20 to 16 and so on while trying to reach that next gate threshold brings a new degree of challenge not seen in the series before, and it's brilliant. True, the mode often feels punishing and a tad unbalanced, much like the returning Mario Kart modes, but it's a thrill that really gives World a distinct new flavour that players who have spent $80 to play at launch will no doubt be looking for. The standout new mode is further complemented by inarguably the tightest, most complete feeling racing mechanics ever, because as if knowing how to effectively drift, boost jump, and deploy items didn't bring enough strategy to the act of racing, making almost every rail, wall, and train track grindable does well to make you approach tracks in a fresh, vertical sense. Mario Kart is no longer just about drifting and using shortcuts to gain the lead over your in-kart rivals, but also places a lot of emphasis on having you make the most of your surroundings. The primary way you go about doing this, of course, is by mastering what's called the charge jump. Although it takes a little getting used to, holding down the drift button without any directional input to charge up a jump eventually becomes second nature. The bigger challenge comes from actually knowing how to use this build-up to know when to release and hit a rail or wall perfectly. Doing so incorrectly can be extremely costly, with crashes or missed surfaces often costing you a lot of momentum that you could have otherwise spent increasing your lead in the race or trying to catch whoever has managed to outpace you so far. The charge jump comes in particularly useful during interstitial moments during track transitions, which tend to be straight and don't offer chances to increase your speed otherwise. Mario Kart World is absolutely no slouch in the racing strategy department then, with plenty of planning and thought still required to maintain a lead over your other 23 on-track rivals. Does this increased racer count make racing through tracks more chaotic than before? To an extent, since tracks both old and new have been adjusted slightly to accommodate all those extra wheels with a wider breadth and fresh grindable elements. It's when Mario Kart's usual rigmarole of unpredictable item drops get thrown into the mix that the chaos truly ensues, as blue shells, lightning strikes, and super horns are deployed in quick succession to make you crash out and then attempt to crawl back. It would have been nice if new items like the feather and Kamek spells had more of an effect, but it's probably wise not to upset the balance too much. Where things in Mario Kart World begin to go properly awry is in its attempt to make every track feel like it's part of an interconnected map. Taking the core Mario Kart experience and transplanting it onto an open world structure isn't a bad idea in theory. The problem is, rather than learn from the racing greats who have made a similar jump, such as Burnout Paradise or Forza Horizon, Nintendo has stringently stuck to its guns to come up with its own interpretation of the concept. Turns out that it's one that's oddly stale and kind of boring, as all there is to do do when driving in Mario Kart World's new free roam mode is to seek out arbitrary collectibles, seen here in the form of peach coins and question mark pads, that do very little else other than unlock cosmetic stickers. Far more interesting, if only slightly, are the P-switch missions. There are well over 100 of them to be found in total, which when accessed present you with mini challenges that force you to test out your driving skills in unique ways, at least in theory. From collecting coins within a certain time frame to performing some incredibly precise wall riding tricks, in my 20 plus hours of playtime I've found very few to be all that interesting, outside of the sheer visual delight the interconnected map naturally provides. Unlike other open world driving games that are absolutely packed with personality and things to do, finding the fun in Mario Kart World's version can sometimes feel like pulling teeth. The actual world is by far the most inconsistent part of this package, which is a shame given its potential. Equally disappointing is how Nintendo's insistence on making most tracks drivable from one to the other seamlessly disrupts the standard Grand Prix game mode. Because while I have no problem with being able to choose whether I drive between, say, Sky High Sunday and Dandelion Depths in Versus mode, making this the standard in Grand Prix mode feels like a huge unforced error. It leads to huge stretches of the tournament feeling like an aimless sprint to the next true track, with only one full lap on a track making up a race. The other laps serve as these weird interstitial transition courses. Making traditional Grand Prix Cups act this way is a choice, but not necessarily the right one, since it makes learning new all-timer courses like DK Spaceport and Boo Cinema much harder. Mario Kart World makes some genuinely bold attempts at reinventing its colourful karting formula. The problem is, most tend to be lackluster and very few land with the intended effect. It's not a complete blowout by any means, as racing against a full online group with up to 23 others is a blast, and trying to 3-star all 8 new cups is still a true challenge. However, it's the game's interconnectedness that detracts from the magically produced secret sauce the series does so well, with changes to Grand Prix structure and free roam's inconsistent activities holding Mario Kart World's true greatness back. Knockout Tour is where the beauty of this Nintendo Switch 2 launch title truly lies, serving as the foundation for an otherwise fun but familiar kart racer. We at All Out Gaming give Mario Kart World a 3 out of 5. So there you have it guys, in terms of our full review on Mario Kart World. Have you been enjoying this one? Let us know in the comments below. And why not subscribe to the All Out Gaming YouTube channel to stay up to date with even more videos like this. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.